How you doing, brother?
Good, big.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How
Yes.
are you, bro?
What's happening, baby?
Good to see you. Good to see
Uh-huh.
you.
Oh, man, it feels so good, man, to just be able to pop down
Yeah.
and see you, brother. Yes, sir.
If you think it feel good, you see the smile on my face. So
Man.
how you been?
Good, brother. Good. Just got in from Phoenix.
All right. Just got in from Phoenix. What you was on in Phoenix? I thought you was in New York.
Well, it was in New York. We met up with Eddie in New York. I guess that was for the Serrano Katie Taylor press conference. And then yesterday he had a show in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
So Devin sat ringside and watched it, and I was present for any talks or anything that needed to be discussed.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you popped by because obviously we were going to discuss your quotes. And, always good to get it straight from you yourself rather than reading things and trying to interpret it the best we can. But basically you're saying that, Lou DiBella and Kambosos need to stop the narrative that the fight between Kambosos and your son, Devin Haney, can only happen in Australia. I don't know how I feel about that, though, Bill. I mean, because you guys have said for so long that Australia wasn't a problem. Why is it now that you are looking for other options other than Australia?
Oh no, I'm not looking for any other options. We know that Dazn had an opening at the end of April for a show that can happen in Australia, it can happen in the United States, Dubai, or whatever. I just want the show to get on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get back in the ring. I know I want to use all the momentum that we have in the lightweight division to finally bring some closure to who the true undisputed champion is. And I'm saying, let's go ahead and make it happen. What's all this prolonging for and all this playing and all this, you know what I mean, that you need to talk to these other people to get money, the Australian government and businessmen and all these other narratives if you haven't put anything on the table.
Now, for those who may be watching and don't know, we're referring to the story that was on Boxing Scene. I'm not sure if you've had time to see it, Bill, the interview that they did.
Well, your quotes are from the New York City press conference with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. You were asked few questions just from general media, so they didn't have a specific person that he was speaking to, just that you said these quotes at the press conference.
Well, I mean, just like as we sit right here, and you don't need to quote me. You have Alan. Just go ahead and just take a look at it.
Alan Joyce compares Western Australia border restriction to North Korea. Okay. So I get it. I read the article. You're saying that because Australia is down to 50%, why are we even going there?
Well,
but you're also second guessing, though.
Not only are the fact of that they're down to 50%, but it's actually being, it's like you can't go from California to Nevada, or you can't even go from Houston to Dallas. I know this because I'm watching and I'm looking at the landscape of both America, Australia, and everywhere else. If there was a deal on the table for Australia, and no offense, I think that, in time, maybe this is not the right time for the deal with Australia, maybe later on. But, I mean, it's plug and play with this. With Devin and Kambosos, whether it's Devin and Loma, whether it's Devin and Tank, whether it's Tank and Ryan, we have the infrastructure and the places that are being sold out here in the United States every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, So,
but can you really do the alleged 50,000 Australians that Kambosos is talking about? Like, that's why he wants to go back to Australia outside of having his victory lap at home.
Anybody can say that. I mean, there's not 50,000 Australians gathered anywhere for any event right now in this present time. There's no 50,000 Australians gathered in Australia for nothing. You saw with what happened also with the Australian Open, that it was cut back. But it's a lot of things that's suffering. It's businesses that are suffering. It's hotels that are suffering. It's just the Australian economy. And you can imagine when we were at 50%. Can you imagine how many businesses were then saying that they were almost being forced to close because they weren't able to bring in the people? So I said.
But what would you need from Lou DiBella and Peter Khan, Team Kambosos, in terms of like to assure you that the event could go on? Like, I mean, is there something that they can give you? A guarantee?
Oh, absolutely.
A contract that states that they have a venue that's willing to house this event, or are you guys already dead set on America?
Well, we put something on the table that Eddie assured that Devin would be taken care of by Dazn, right, and then that Lou DiBella would take care of George Kambosos and their team, right, and we would make it happen. I believe that Lomachenko and Arum put the same kind of deal on the table that involved George believing in himself and believing in Australia. If Australia is to do the things that they're going to do and it's the place, then traditionally you would put the offer on the table for us. You would give us something to think about. You would give us something to think about, and we hadn't had anything to think about. But overall,
so let's get this clear for those that don't understand that. Basically, the champion wants to go back home and force the challenger to come, but he wants the challenger's money. Obviously, and it's not in the traditional sense of a challenger. Devin Haney is a champion, but he wants Devin to come to his hometown with DAZN's network money.
Well, he made reference to Devin and his jewelry and his chains, and told me that we need to sell.
Called him a boy too. How'd you feel about that?
Well, I mean, that's just talk. They'll get in the ring, and it'll determine who's the boy and the man in the ring. But when it comes to this actual negotiating this business, right? If you want us to come to your hometown, then you have a way that the fight is going to happen. Mm-hmm. You said you have the stadium, right? You have all the logistics, right? But somehow you don't have the money to pay the fighters. Somehow that just conveniently.
But if they haven't sent you anything, how do you know that they don't have the money to pay? Like, I just want to know, how'd you come to that conclusion if you're allegedly saying that no offers come?
Because they told us that we need to give them an offer.
Okay.
By the Kambosos team.
But did they call, or is this all social media stuff?
Well, I've talked to members of the Kambosos team.
Okay.
Right? And I've also heard on social media, right? I know that Kambosos has reiterated time and time again, whether he's made reference to Devin being a boy and that he should talk to Eddie and get an offer together, right? Mm-hmm. Similar to the same thing that we said that, similar to what Arum and Lomachenko said, is that we presented a way through Eddie Hearn to Lou DiBella, a direction in which the thing can happen. And it was discussed that DAZN would then take care of Devin. And Australia, Lou DiBella, Australian pay-per-view, the stadium, and whatever other monies they can derive from Australia would then take care of George.
And they don't like that deal. They want some guaranteed DAZN money, is what you're saying?
I don't know what else they would want.
We saw Devin obviously last night on the DAZN broadcast, right during the Bam Rodriguez fight. He spoke to Chris Mannix, and obviously they were speaking of, the possibility. And Devin made it clear, whatever they've asked, whether it's Australia, I told them yes. Whether it's the vaccine, I've told them yes. I don't know what else. Did you happen to see George Kambosos, the tweet he made a few days ago regarding the fight? He mentioned both your son Devin and Vasyl Lomachenko. Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see that?
You know what? I've seen different things. You would have to.
I have it pulled up. If I could just read it to you, really cool. Actually, Ness, you want
send it to the pre-pro?
Okay.
But the thing would be is that if there's no other fight in the lightweight division, there's no other fight that George Kambosos should be trying to make, and there's no other fight that Devin Haney should be trying to make, other than fighting each other.
No, absolutely. Lou DiBella had some.
Did you send it?
Yeah, I sent it. We're gonna get all these pulled up so the public can also see.
Is it the one where he told where Loma responded saying that an offer was sent to Kambosos?
No, it was the one where Luke said to not entertain these clowns. Or
Yeah. Oh, that's different though. But all right.
well, the tweet from George was saying how he has all these TV networks. Yes. So that's the one.
Well, and Lou doubled down on that though.
No, Lou didn't double down.
Yes, he did.
Because then.
But let me get a screen share, Ken.
Kambosos called out to Loma to put a serious offer on the table. If you have,
so this is it right here. He says, when I said now we can talk, I meant it. I didn't expect real Devin Haney for you to manipulate and play games. Eddie, what's going on with your boy? Yes or no? Dazn got no faith in him? Hey, Vasil, tell Bob Arum to make a serious offer to Lou DiBella. I'm waiting. So where am I?
Right there.
George Kambosos. He says, I got plenty of TV, bro. But listen, let's just again give credit to one of my most faithful listeners, Andre Dakota, who himself replied to George Kambosos' tweet. And shout out to Kambosos for replying to his fans, where then he said, I got plenty of TV broadcasting options, mate. But how bad do these guys want their TV broadcasting partners to have their geographical location is really the question. So basically he's insinuating that DAZN is willing to put up the money if DAZN can get this fight where they want it.
Like I've said before, you can. This is a global thing, right? This is a global thing, the pandemic thing, and Devin and George are world champions. Mm-hmm. You fight for world supremacy, and you fight in the best place for the world. Now, I just want you to pull this up because the readers
text it to me so I can screen share. So let me get a screen share, Ken. And what we have here is Loma now responding to George Kambosos saying, hey, champion, we've made the best offer for you. We are waiting for your decision. So, before I pull up yours, I love to ask you what's on the table if what you're seeking doesn't happen. Normally, you give me a few options that end up becoming the truth. And I got to paint this picture for you. We can take this down for a second, Ken. I got to paint this picture for you. I know that you see that Stephen Big Shot Shaw just was on ESPN. I know that you see that Richard Comey refused to fight Devin Haney for a world title and somehow chose to go to ESPN to fight Vasil for no title. I know you see more Lou DiBella fighters getting television time. So I think it's safe to say that there is a possibility that Lou is seeking to continue that alliance, and maybe sending Kambosos to DAZN can ruffle the feathers. I think that the probability of maybe Vasil sneaking in and getting this fight so that Lou can continue to put his fighters on ESPN. Remember, he's got the gold medalist heavyweight from this year. He needs television. Are you not fearful that maybe Lou strikes that Vasil deal?
Well, initially they came out and they said that they were going to go look at Tank Davis. They were going to look at Lomachenko. They looked at, find out they looked at Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Like I say, the only fight, and the people are the ones that's paying for it. The people are the ones that are driving the subscriptions, they're driving the pay-per-views and the like. The fight that they're saying is to really bring the closure to the undisputed, right? And that's nothing that Lou can do about it, in my opinion, right? Lou has maintained the fact that he has television, and I think that if he can put it together, then this would be the time that you put the deal on the table for Devin. Instead of asking, you continue to put pressure. George Kambosos puts pressure to Devin to put together a fight in his hometown of Australia. He puts pressure on DAZN to bring the fight to Australia when it's just a tough time. Bob has also said publicly that it's a tough time and there's some COVID issues that they need to deal with. They put together an offer for them. They then went shopping with Eddie Hearn and Devin, right? didn't like the fact of what we said and came back and twisted the story and said that we were outpricing ourselves, right? When they've never put nothing on the table for us to outprice. But if you think that I'm lying about it, right? Here you have an executive here in Australia who's speaking about.
Let me get a screen share,
speaking
Cam.
about Australia and what's going on there.
So this is an article from theguardian.com. Do you want to just jump straight to the quotes?
Well, let him get a bar of it so they'll feel who he is. He's an executive for Qantas, right? Makes about $8 million a year. He's a businessman there in Australia, and this is what he's describing that he's experiencing in Australia right now.
So he's saying you can't even travel around your own country. It's starting to look like North Korea, he told presenters Ross and Russell. We thought we had a date for the border to be open, but that was stepped back from its disappointed tens of thousands of people that had booked to go to WA. Where is that? Wyoming?
No, not Wyoming.
Washington?
That's Western Australia.
Oh, I thought they wanted to get out the country. No, but he did say you can't travel in your own country. And he goes on to say, I think we should all be a bit outraged by it. We're supposed to be all Australian. I mean, look, I get what you're saying. Yeah. If they're on lockdown, they're on lockdown. If they're not at 100%, they can't hold an event.
Also, you can't get the kind of support that you would like to get to have a massive event.
And you mean in terms of attendance?
Not just attendance, but you also want the right people to be able to come into the fights, to watch the fights. You want to bring the momentum that you need. You want to add ancillary programming that would also enhance, the 24/7s and all the other stuff that goes into it. And like I said, we don't rule out of fighting in Australia, but damn, like the rubber needs to meet the road. Put something on the table, right? If that's what you're going to do, if you want to fight in Australia and you have it mapped out, you have all the broadcasters, then Lou, by all means, give us something.
So they haven't even presented anything.
Nothing.
No stadium,
Nothing.
no date.
Nothing.
No pay-per-view package from the Australian TV, nothing.
Nothing.
So maybe they don't want to deal with you guys.
Well, I mean, the same thing happened with Bob Arum now.
As far as Vasyl Lomachenko.
Because listen, it doesn't take long. We know that we're the second option, right? We know.
Why do you feel the second option?
Because we're the harder fight for anybody, right? We're the harder fight for anybody, and the fact that just like Jojo Diaz chose a second after choosing Ryan Garcia, who pulled out. Richard Comey, right? Lou was thinking about us or Vasyl Lomachenko. He chose Lomachenko, right? Teofimo had an opportunity to choose us. He chose Kambosos.
I mean, he didn't really choose Kambosos, right? Like, it was a mandatory. You would have to pay step aside that Kambosos didn't seem like he was going to take.
You wouldn't have to pay step aside because it's a unification, and the unification is going to trump all you have to do.
Man, they always say that, but has it ever happened? I didn't see Usyk and, well, I guess they do sometimes allow you to negotiate, but you do have to put in petitions and all that.
Champion is forced to do a mandatory rather than to unify all the titles. Come on, man. That's unheard of.
I mean, it's definitely happened. Mandatories.
But it happens more often than not that the unified takes precedence over.
But that's because fighters are willing to accept step aside. That fighter has to accept that step aside. Once he doesn't want to take it, that fight has to happen. Just if Kambosos don't want step aside money, how is it going to happen?
If you negotiate, that's just like now. If we negotiate the fight before the WBO orders the fight with Lomachenko and Kambosos, the WBO can order the fight now.
Exactly.
So what is he waiting on? What did George Kambosos? I mean, what did Teofimo Lopez wait for the fight to get ordered for?
I mean, I hear you, man.
You get paid less.
In the case of Teo, you're right, because I remember it being out there, on social media, you guys asking, for you to negotiate, starting somewhere at 4, him bumping into Eddie, then asking for 10. And then it did get mandated, which was different. But you knew that was always in the back of his mind. That's always what he wanted to do. He kept talking about how he was going to shock the world, the purse bid.
The one thing about this is that me personally, I never want to see two guys and they both don't want to fight each other. If one fighter has an excuse, oh, well, my ankle, or, I need to go to go get my book bag, or whatever it is, as growing up as kids, right?
Talking to the mic, Bill.
As growing up as kids, right? Who wanted to see a guy fight a guy that had excuses, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the school year, you want to see the two guys, right? The two guys that claim to be the bullies, claim to be the fighters, fight each other. You don't want to see a guy that doesn't want to fight, right? And same thing with boxing. To me, you want to see the guys that really want to fight, that are doing everything to make the things happen to fight, not the guy that's playing politics.
So what is the option? What is the option if this doesn't happen? If they go the Vasil route, like what does DHP have on the table?
We're not looking to have another option right now. There's no reason that this fight shouldn't happen.
I mean,
right?
but
we can go to Australia. We can go to Australia and make it happen, right? If they can make it happen, if the logistics and they can do everything and present everything and get everything together. But if not, we cannot say that this fight is not plug and play in the United States. I think the whole object of saying that you got to go to Australia with never doing a show in Australia, right? Never having the support that you're seeking to have, right, was a duck move. They have told him, well, we can go. But now it's month after month after month, right, with nothing.
But that's why I'm asking, what's the option? Like, when is your cutoff to get some sort of deal? Like, how long do you let it go on?
Listen, we got to stay doing our due diligence to make this thing happen until he's not on the table, till undisputed is not on the table.
Well, real quick, I want to get an intermission here. Keen, if you can go to that audio and before you play it, Bill, this is our attempt at giving you an award for obviously being one of our best guests from our community. So it was a gifted intro from our producer, Brandon in Houston. Let him hear it. Let's see. Can they play it?
You're going to see it on MGM Grand. Only one will stand. And Bill Haney, William E. Haney, come with that fight plan.
They didn't think six niggas out of Oakland was going to push up on their ass.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Tell the truth to shame the devil that Devin is a bad motherfucker.
Come get the real belts, not the same franchise shit.
That boy is good.
Bill Haney, say his name 3 times, pop up like Candyman.
When you talk about that, you talk about one of the best fighters in boxing.
SDS Promotions.
Like that, man. That was dope. That was dope.
Shout out to Brandon in Houston. Man, I get it, man. I know you don't want to put anything out there that the writers can twist, but we can't just let Devin sit out waiting on Kambosos, man. I'm tired of him being second fiddle. You just said it yourself. He's always someone's second option.
Right, but like you've heard in so many of those sound bites, that Devin is the best in the world, the best on the planet, and it's a reason why that fighters do and say everything else other than let's fight, other than let's make it happen. Like I said, that it's a date in April, right? I talked to Dazn. It's a date in late of April, right? That's available, right?
For U.S. or Australia.
For Devin and Kambosos to make it happen.
But in the U.S. or Australia?
Listen, I heard that they're not even ready. I heard all that gym shit. I heard he's not even ready for April. That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to the team, and they said it wasn't no way that he was going to be ready in April. And I said, well, shit, what are all these videos we looking at of him and Devin doing everything? What is it?
I mean, they could just be trying to play mind games, right? They don't just because they tell you they're not ready doesn't mean they're really ready,
right?
Or not.
No, 100%. But we ready. We ready.
You ain't answer me yesterday. I texted you, man. If you was gonna be in the gym, I got no way. I wanted to see.
Because
but y'all was in Phoenix.
Yeah, we went to
I was in
Phoenix.
Phoenix. I was in Phoenix.
That was the only reason. We've been there on Monday though.
I'll be back, but I'm flying out tonight.
When you coming back?
Definitely I'll be here Friday. I'm going to pick up that vet. I got to pull up next to Devin in the same one.
Hey, this shit is so dope, man, that you're right here. Like,
oh, I love it, man. I love it, man. I don't think I've smiled this much, man.
I told him when you walked in the first time you came by, he just lit up like a kid on Christmas morning.
Bruh, it's the dream. I'm living the dream, man. It's official, man.
Bill, is there anything that you can share from the meeting you guys had with Eddie in New York? Any positivity? And did he speak of maybe a backup plan?
Yeah, he definitely had you in New York for a reason.
Well, no, the one thing that we wanted to reiterate when me talking to him is that we're still at the table and we're still ready to negotiate with George Kambosos and making this thing happen, right? And he shouldn't walk away from it and say, "Oh, well, that I'm mad at Devin for." I don't know what was the tweet. He said he was mad.
Who?
George Kambosos. He said, "I thought you were manipulating something." What
That's
what
a new tweet?
about?
Oh, he said Devin tweeted to George Kambosos on January 16th. He said, "Yo, George Kambosos, are we making this fight happen or what? I'm agreeing to all of your terms, whether it's the vaccine or the travel. It's starting to look like some ducking going on." And he mentioned Eddie Hearn. George responded by saying, "I love how you manipulate." Go to George's page on January 16th. "I love how you manipulate and lie to your fans, talk a big game, but show no action, a bit like your fights. I am patiently waiting with all of my belts for the offer from your boss, Mr. Eddie Hearn, because I got a stadium ready in Australia, but I can see the excuses already."
There's the thing is, he keeps saying the stadium as a world champion, right? He keeps saying the stadium, he keeps saying the flag, he keeps saying that because he keeps trying to drive this narrative that the only way that it can fight, the fight can happen is at home. But being a world champion means you fight in the place that can stage in the world. You represent the world, right? And then the contradiction is that everything is supposed to be smooth sailing, right, when making this fight happen there. But then you hear an executive in Australia saying that it resembles North Korea. Now, if we went outside right now and we looked around and we said, "Damn, it looked like North Korea around here." Now, that would be pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a problem.
That would be pretty bad.
It's a problem.
That would be pretty bad.
I have that tweet pulled up if you want to screen share it.
But you still leave the onus on us to make it happen.
Bill, now just to clarify, because people like to twist words or change the narrative of things. What you're saying is the only thing preventing Team Haney from traveling to Australia for that fight with George Kambosos
is an offer.
It's an offer.
The offer.
It's an offer.
They haven't even got. That's what he's saying.
We haven't even got an offer.
He's telling you what's going on in Australia, but he's saying, "Look, we're still going. We just never got anything."
You never got anything.
So the tweet that we're currently looking at is saying that from George Kambosos replying to Devin, he's saying that he's waiting on the offer from his quote unquote boss, Eddie Hearn.
Okay, so then when he said we talked, so Eddie then spoke to Lou and talked about a direction in which that the thing can happen because you want it to happen in Australia, right? And then similar to the same that what Top Rank did. He says, "Oh, give me something serious." So give us something serious then. Give us something. So you're asking for everything, and that's what everyone has said. Both Eddie and Devin is that we've given you everything. Same thing as what Lomachenko just said is, brother, you got your best offer. We've given you everything. You're the one that wants to fight there. You're the one that's saying that it's a stadium full of people. You're saying that the people are waiting. You're saying that the sponsorships. You're saying that the money is there, right? Then why aren't you offering any? If you're saying the money is there and you have a pulse on it, why aren't you offering a stinky dinky donut of it? Anything.
Absolutely. And I mean, on the Dazn telecast last night, Devin reiterated, he's like, the narrative that I'm pricing myself out is capped. Like, so obviously Devin, according to him, he's like, whatever it takes to make the fight happen. He said, whether it's the travel, the vaccine, I'll go. Let's just make it happen at this point.
But to dig down on that pricing himself out, has Devin or Eddie or yourself put out a mandatory minimum that you want? No. Because don't you need to receive an offer in order to price yourself out?
Exactly. And we've never talked about what it would take Devin on our side with Eddie. How much money? We've never talked about the money. The first thing is securing George Kambosos and being able to make the thing happen.
So where would he get pricing himself out from?
It was all bullshit because you can't price yourself out and then go back and ask Bob Arum to present an offer. Wouldn't you be presenting Bob an offer that you offered us?
That's what I'm thinking about. When you think of the Jeff Horn fight, the reason he brought it there is because he'd have been showing that he'd been, putting on events in Australia. And I don't know. I don't want to believe that Bob would have sent Pacquiao over there on Top Rank money.
Okay, well, if the money was there, the second fight, why did, for one, Jeff Horn got paid $500,000, right? The first fight in Australia, and then when he defended against Terrence Crawford, where was that fight at?
MGM
America.
Grand.
So why is that? If he became a champion and beat Pacquiao, then why wouldn't you then defend in your hometown, in your country?
Well, I feel like they know that the money is here. Like they're gonna bring the money here. People are gonna pay the money here. Probably anything outside of the Middle East, which I did want to ask you about.
Yeah, Eddie said there was interest in the Middle East. Did you guys present that offer to Kambosos to go to the Middle East?
I think what Kambosos needs to do is understand the climate of the world and where we can have the event and where the event makes sense, right? And that's letting the promoters, both Lou, Eddie, and Devin, and I guess even with Ferocious Promotions, if you want the money, you can't have them both. If you want the biggest purse that you can get, then you got to put it in the place that you can get the biggest purse at, right? You can't have them both. You want to have it in a place, and then you want to cry about the money, what the money is going to look like. And from what I'm understanding in the deal structure, it's only that he believes in himself in Australia. That Lou believe that they're going to get all the money from the venue that they're going to get. They believe in Australian pay-per-view, and they make it happen. And it seems like it seems like where a fifth grader could understand it. It's that I'm coming to you, right? You don't have to pay for me, right? And you can use my likeness. You can use everything that you need to promote it, right? The opponent is already paid for. Now it should be free money for you. It should be free money in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, something that Patrick would say is George hasn't showed any proof of concept. You know what I mean? Like you're saying you can sell 50,000, but where are your previous shows? Same thing with Lou. If he's saying that there's Australia, because I wanted to pull up Lou's tweet. Let me go back to that. Because if you're saying that there's television, then why hasn't Haney been presented with an offer? So let me get a screen share here. We got Lou DiBella telling our very own George Kambosos, not worth talking business with clowns, champ. There are numerous international powerhouse media companies wanting to televise / stream pay-per-view your fights. Fights, not just one. Right now, Australia is a major market. Funny how none of them want to pay for Haney or meet his demands. And this is February 4th. 2 days ago, he's saying that his TV contacts and money people in Australia don't want to pay for what Haney wants. So again, I got to double down.
Does it look like that he's informing him for the first time? It looks like that he's letting him know that it's numerous international powerhouse media companies wanting to television pay-per-view your fights right now.
Yeah, but he's doubling down on what George already said. Look, here's George saying, I got plenty of TV broadcasting options, mate. Mm-hmm. So Lou's just coming in telling George, don't even talk to these guys.
Okay,
like, we know what we got.
But that's what you got. But that's not what you presented to us. That's not
what you, so something was presented. You said
no. I said that's not what you're presenting to us.
Okay,
you're not presenting anything to us, right? So if you're saying this, why aren't you saying this? You guys already know we have television streaming because we've offered that to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying that you don't have it because you haven't offered. But so if you do have it, why are you saying it in the tweet and not saying that you already offered it to us?
Now, being in New York City with Eddie and Devin, why wasn't a call made to Lou right then and there to trying to iron things out and figure out what is on the table?
Because Lou is doing his best to not fight Dev. He
wants the Loma fight, in your opinion.
Well, no, he said in the beginning about Devin being an email champion, Devin being not worthy, Devin being, Lou's been a hater for a while. And just like I told him that Devin was going to smash Comey if he had picked. If Comey had wanted to become a world champion instead of wanting to become a stepping stone to Lomachenko getting back, then he could have got that work. Period.
So, Nez, just kind of going back to what you were saying about George not proving or, not showing that he can put 50,000 people in the stadium in Australia. I went back and I looked. Last time he fought in Australia was towards the back end, the end of 2017, right? He fought in a venue that holds 700 people. So the last time you were in your home country, you fought in a venue that holds 700 people. Now, he also obviously comes from Greek heritage. So I looked and I looked up. I'm like, when's the last time he fought in Greece? That was mid 2019, so 2.5 years ago. He fought in a venue that holds 5,000 people. Now that's what it holds. No telling how many people were actually in attendance. We never hear of fights in Greece. But do you think that maybe they're trying to bite off a bit more than they can chew? Because it seems like if you can host 50,000 people in your host country, why not present an offer to Team Haney and offer to Team Lomachenko? This is what we got. We can do 50,000 in this stadium on this day, on this network, since they have plenty of network options, and go about it that way. Why do you think that is, Bill, that they have not done that?
I don't know. You don't even have to do that with us. Just tell us what the guarantee is, and then we're going to show up.
Yeah, I think they're just playing, they're just trying to see all the offers. Hypothetically.
There's no guarantee that none of that's going to happen. And that's not. And when you don't have a guarantee, then it's hard to get the fighters that you need. That you need to host that kind of event. You need the guarantee. And Eddie Hearn and Dazn has been putting the guarantees behind Devin's last 6 fights. So it's no reason for us to believe that they're not going to put no money up, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. When I seen Kambosos tweet about get the money right or they don't believe it, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, last I checked, Gamboa got paid handsomely. It was made public that Joseph Diaz got more than what he was going to get to fight Ryan. So the narrative that there's no money when you fight Devin is crazy. Bill, I think... Ooh.
That's Sean and Bella.
But yeah, man, I just think that narrative is crazy, man. But I don't know. I wanted to hear a backup, man. Normally you got a backup. Normally you got something there.
Normally you give me a backup.
Shit.
Give me a backup.
What's the backup, Danny?
To me, the backup, truth be told, since George and Lou are saying, you can't entertain clowns. To me, the backup should be.
Well, no, I think when he said clowns, he was talking to the person that George was directly tweeting to, which was one of our listeners, Andre.
Well, regardless, if they don't want to send the offers, right, for your 50,000 fans in Australia and all your networks that you got, you want to send the offers, Vasyl Lomachenko is number 1 in the WBC.
Oh, so you're saying neither one of them fight George and fight each other?
Why not?
I just think that's going to require Bob... or rather, Devin. They're gonna want Devin to fight on ESPN. Bob has that deal. I don't know. Well, he did let Ramirez go over to DAZN, right? And the Campbell fight it was ESPN or DAZN when it was Vasyl.
No, the Campbell fight was on. That was on DAZN.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for both networks to host, to have each fighter, and it's streamed on both of them.
What? Devin and
Devin. The fight is on DAZN and the fight is on ESPN.
If Devin fights Vasyl,
why not?
It's an opportunity. I mean, anything can happen.
I'm making a face because they're both in it for subscriptions. So I don't know.
Right. I mean, if they're both in it for subscriptions, it's like you could look at it. The networks could look at it like, okay, you back your fighter, we'll back our fighter. DAZN push Haney in that fight. ESPN Plus, they push Lomachenko, how they've been pushing Lomachenko, and it's like you could do kind of like a co-promotion thing and make that fight happen. Because it's like, who else? You know, Vasyl Lomachenko's number one. Why not do it?
I just don't get why Vasyl's getting opportunity. So Vasyl gets an opportunity from Kambosos. If that doesn't happen, he gets another opportunity from Haney.
So who do you see? Who do you see?
I mean, look, I guess I'm just the resident fucking Loma hater. I feel like he's get this easy path, bro.
Well,
But who do you see? Who do you see?
To me,
normally you have
I would
somebody
go
for
with
it.
Tank, but I know that Tank is fighting Rolly. They're saying Rolly maybe March.
to me, it's just the most logical one, right? They showed up to the WBC convention. Carl Moretti, Igis Klimas, extremely happy that they petitioned for that franchise status. You see people like, oh, it doesn't matter. He would have beat Devin easily, even though he had the opportunity to take that fight and chose to go a different route. So now let's see how easy it would have been for those who say that. He's number one in the WBC rankings. He just got off what people are saying a spectacular performance,
look good
against
in the
Nakatani.
Comey too, though.
And Comey. So back-to-back spectacular wins, right? They saying Loma's back. They're saying he's for those people that say that, he's number one in the WBC. Make that fight happen. Number two,
Only person Comey beat ever was Ray Beltran.
I mean, it could be argued that he beat Robert Easter.
We would have beat Vasyl Lomachenko had he opted to fight us when Devin was the interim champion. We'd have beat him then, and we'll beat him even worse now.
What do you think of a fight with Isaac Cruz? I mean, he's number three. He's number
He's listen.
Yo, that's another dude that's turned into a dog.
Take nothing away from the lightweight division is full of talent. Lomachenko is a bad boy, right? And Isaac Cruz is a hell of a tough, rugged fighter, right? You got Tank Davis, dynamite in both hands, right? You got Kambosos, the Miracle Man, It's just so many opportunities for Devin to make good fights, and it's a great fight with all those guys. So you know what I'm saying?
So
Isaac Cruz, yeah.
You guys would be open to an Isaac Cruz fight?
Listen, we're at the top of the we're at the pay window. We're at the top of the food chain.
Okay.
Right? We don't turn down a fade. Not at 135.
And Isaac, he's number 3 in the WBC rankings. Number 2 is Ryan Garcia, who just announced
a fight with Lou DiBella fighter. And once upon a time, Devin Haney possible opponent.
Right. And you see, and he knows when the Tago came up, they didn't. It was like nah, Tago for Devin, nah. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I was right. The reason he's being accepted for Ryan is because Ryan's coming back from this hiatus.
Yeah, from a lot of shit.
Exactly.
So we respect it.
I can't respect it. I mean, excuse me, wrong word. I can't believe they didn't take the Tevin fight though. Like Tevin is more of a name than to Emmanuel.
Oh no, absolutely. But Tevin presents a lot of different problems that and a wealth of experience as well as athleticism and defense and stuff that that Tago won't probably bring. But Tago's a good fighter, right? He hasn't lost in a long time, right? So if you're coming back from something, that's the kind of fighter that you would have, I guess. I guess that would be a good fighter. Fighter.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it would have been the right choice for Devin at that time because he's already the champion,
Yeah, but if Devin can't get, and that was the thing that me and you spent so much time talking about, like, those right fights before the big fights. If you couldn't get the right fights and you can't get the big fights, then what does that leave you, right? So for a lot of time, for a long time, that we didn't get the stepping stone fight. We had to just throw ourselves in the pot because a lot of the stepping stone guys were looked at as not tough tasks.
I hear you.
I don't know. I would if that fight with Kambosos can't happen. I would love Lomachenko. I would love it because for one, where does that leave Kambosos at that point, right? Mm-hmm. And then for 2,
I guess I'm not
to me-
as enthusiastic as you, is because I know that the world that we live in. I don't know that the business would be as simple with Top Rank and DAZN as it is obviously been with Lou and Top Rank.
What do you see at 140?
At 140 pounds right now.
Josh Teller, you're already the WBC champ. You already have a relationship with Mauricio Suleiman, petitioned to fight. Have you spoken to him? Last I spoke to him, he was telling me he was sick, and I haven't heard from him in days.
No, shout out to Mauricio.
Yeah, I hope he's all right. He didn't even show up to the fight.
Yeah, wish him a speedy recovery, for sure.
I was just with Josh. He was out here, obviously, because Ben Davison was in camp with Devin. So
well, that you know what? Thank you for reminding. That won't happen.
Right, but
Ben ain't letting that happen.
But I know Josh was basically saying after his defense at home against Catterall, everything he was saying was hinting at that's it at one. He's like, I'm undisputed. What else do I have to fight at 144? Move up to 47. That's the impression I got with the time I spent with him out here and Ben Davison. So, damn, 140. Let's see.
That's
but if you're not
great
gonna fight Josh, I mean, you're gonna end up fighting for a vacant title at 40 and have the same bullshit narrative that you're not a champion, that they emailed you the bell. I mean, obviously it ain't gonna matter to you guys. Pay grade gonna be up. You're now a 2-time champion, but Ramirez. Another top-ranked fighter?
I mean, you got Ramirez and Cepeda. Cepeda 1, Ramirez 2.
William Cepeda is too much of a threat and not a big enough name, bro. Nobody knows him. Who's the last dude?
Jose Cepeda. He's the one.
No, I'm talking William with Golden Boy.
No, I'm talking
not Jose. Jose already, I mean, he's good, but
Well, the reason I said his name is because he's number 1 in the WBC rankings.
Wow.
What was
he is coming off? I think he just had a win, right?
Yeah, he had that knockout win against former Mayweather fighter Josue Vargas.
Yeah.
He just starts Josue Vargas. What about Regis Prograis?
That's a good fight.
That's a good fight.
What about
he's
Regis?
with Pro Bellum too, but don't Regis got a fight? I mean, that's a good. He has a 2.
Oh yeah.
I talked to Eddie about Regis as well.
What's going on with Mikey though?
Regis, I think is Regis moving up to 147.
Nah, from what last interview I seen, he made it clear like he's good at 140.
Yeah, that might be definitely a future fight right there. That'll be a good one. Devin and Regis.
What also in the WBC rankings, he's coming off his career best win. Sandor Martin just got done beating Mikey Garcia. He's in the top. He's number 4 in the WBC rankings.
He's just as known as William Cepeda. I love Sandor.
Why do you keep saying William?
Cause William, I'm not talking about Jose.
Right.
I'm talking about the one from Golden Boy. He's a better fighter and he's more of a risk.
Right, but people are gonna do the same thing I'm doing. Look at these WBC rankings. Oh, he's not even in a top 10, not even in a top 15.
All right, but he's still less known. These guys are not known like Devin Haney, fucking Sandor Martin. Again, unless DAZN is gonna put heavy marketing dollars into showing that Sandor got this upset over Mikey
on DAZN
and try to make him. Yeah, but since then they haven't even fucking interviewed him on DAZN's own television or shows or anything.
Well, I'm just thinking, obviously for Bill Haney to bring up, possible opponents at 140 pounds, they're not gonna go up there to not attempt to win a title, right? So if Josh Taylor does vacate or does move up as expected,
I don't even want to talk about 140 because it's sad, man. If you have to move up and vacate because they don't want to, because 3 champions don't want to fight.
We could probably go up to 140, have a real fight, right? With a fighter like Regis Prograis, who's a boss, right? Who's a former world champion. Right, you got Mikey Garcia, another boss, former world champion. No different than you had with Jojo Diaz, who actually told Golden Boy them when the Ryan Garcia fight fell out. He said, "Yo, give me Haney." Right, you got Jorge Linares, another boss, former world champion. Right, and you have Gamboa. So we look to fight guys that can tell the promoter what they want to do and not hide behind the promoter. Right, so immediately I lit up with Regis Prograis, and not that Regis Prograis, he's a solid fighter. He's a dog. If we're picking anybody, I I probably, out of all of the guys that we mentioned, I lit up about the toughest guy in Regis Prograis. But I also light up about him is because I know that he just made a move over there to Pro Bellum, right? And Pro Bellum and Eddie and all of them kind of have a good working relationship with. You know what I mean? So yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't mind the Prograis fight. And like I said, he's with Pro Bellum. And my friend William Cepeda's at 35. All right, champ. He don't know what he's talking about.
We was talking about fighters at 40 though.
Oh yeah, you're right.
This guy. And so the only issue with Prograis obviously is that he is fighting.
Yeah, but that's
March 19th. So then, realistically speaking,
the zone date doesn't work.
Well, forget not even the DAZN date. He wouldn't even be able to turn around to probably mid to late summer.
No, that's what I'm saying. The date that's available for Devin doesn't work.
So I mean, what do you?
Sandor, it's back to Sandor again. If they can push the Sandor upset win, it happened on DAZN. Don't makes sense.
What is he at 140?
He's 140, but
ranked number 4.
I feel like they just didn't. They haven't, like, he's got this upset. Think about Andy when he got the upset, and obviously comparing Mikey at that time to AJ is a horrible comparison. But at the same time, Andy was on, or Kambosos, same thing. These guys went on press tours. These guys made it known that what they did. Like Sandor won and just went back to fucking Spain.
Yeah, I feel like a big thing of it too, there was no titles on the line.
Yeah.
You talk about Andy and AJ, that was for unified heavyweight champion. You talk about George Kambosos, that was for the unified light, he defeated the unified lightweight champion. So it is a bit different. I don't even want to move to 40 yet.
Me neither, because
I don't want to move to 40.
It would be unfair. It would also prove that boxing can't get it right in fucking 2022.
To me, before that move to 40, I just genuinely feel the two fights that need to happen is Kambosos and Lomachenko for Devin Haney. To me, those are the fights.
I guess Loma gets a road back. But I mean, look, he does deserve it in the sense that Nakatani is a good fighter. Comey is a good fighter. Those are good wins since his loss to Tio. It's probably more than most people have done since a loss in that division. So I guess I'm not confident that it can happen. That's all. I mean, maybe you feel differently. I mean, when I hear Carl Moretti call Devin a good little fighter, I just don't see that they're in a rush to make a fight with him.
I think Lomachenko's biggest win at 135 is by all means is
Luke Campbell?
No, Jorge Linares.
I like how you did that.
Speaking
I like how you did that common opponent. You choose to do this the common opponent. Wiley Nades.
Nades. That's who he became champion. He fought Jorge Linares, who was going in there. It was only I think maybe 2 years later, 2 some odd years.
So
later,
you don't think Pedraza beats Linares, even now or
No.
then?
No.
Really?
You think Pedraza is going to beat Linares?
I think he would have probably beat him then and now. Yeah. What about you? And by then I mean when Devin fought him.
Well, you can see that who's more accomplished out of Linares and
Linares, but at the lower weight divisions, right? Most of his accomplishments comes lower.
he was a champion at 135.
Vacant title with Corolla, right?
Not
No.
good.
No.
No?
Not
Let's
Linares
double
and
check.
Corolla.
Let's check.
Right.
Let's check. Linares.
I got his. I got it pulled up right here.
We all do.
Let's see.
Because he was a WBC like interim because Mikey was the true champ at 35.
DeMarco. No, he lost to DeMarco. Hold on.
It's the Corolla, man. WBA Association. Say it right there. Look, WBC Diamond. I'm telling you, it's Corolla, man. And that was Eddie.
No, so
doing his thing with his bag to get Corolla his last couple paydays.
So no, it was Javier Prieto right here for the vacant WBC World Lightweight title.
Bro, that's not the real belt. Keep looking.
That was 2014, Mikey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then after
at
that,
35?
At 30, yeah, lightweight. Then he went on to
who's Javier Prieto?
he went on to fight Kevin Mitchell and
Washed.
Anthony Corolla twice.
Hey, that's what I'm telling
Luke
you.
Campbell, and then he lost.
And look
he
what
lost
he
to
did.
Lomachenko.
Look what he did. So tell me how that WBC turned into a diamond belt. Because he decided not to fight Mikey, instead fight Corolla, got the diamond, and Mikey became the real, or Zlatan Cannon became the real champ. I'm telling you, if we follow the timeline,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bruh. He chose Corolla.
And then who did Lomachenko beat at 135?
Linares, like you said, he beat a few people
So
though.
Linares
He
wasn't-
beat
Linares
Peldraza. He beat Peldraza.
That was at 30 though. Oh no, that was 35. You right?
He beat. All right, it started with Linares, Peldraza, Corolla. He fought Corolla too. This is ridiculous.
Campbell.
Campbell. Yo, I didn't know that. Corolla got a shot at Loma. Where was I at?
That was Staples Center on a Friday night.
They hit him on top of his head. But okay, so
Fucking
so at
Eddie.
135
Eddie, you the. And this is the bullshit. Eddie could get Corolla, Linares, 2 Linares fights, and a fucking Vasil
Well, that's
fight.
why we came when we did the deal, right? When we did the deal with Eddie, we felt that Eddie was the B-side to everyone. We knew that he would pay, right? We knew that everyone up until that point, Bob Arum worked with him, with everybody, right? We came in the door and then he said we signed the wrong deal with the wrong promoter. Well, wait a minute, bro. This is the same promoter that has been feeding you the hookers, the Maurice Hookers of the world, to Ramirez, the Anthony Corollas of the world, right? The Luke Campbells of the world. All of them came from our side.
That's true.
So when Devin, we put ourselves in the lion's den, so to speak, right? We put on the sheep's clothing and then we walked out. They's like, no, you're a wolf. We're like, no, we're a sheep. We're with Eddie. No, you're a wolf.
Yo, I really think. Well,
But go back. So you said Lomachenko who? So
I think it's Peldraza. I mean, again, but some might argue.
when he beat Pedraza.
Yeah, it's got to be. Peldraza is the only 2-time champ. I know that Linares is a 3-time, but we've already went through who he's won his belts from. Like, he won a belt from Corolla and a belt from Priatu. That's 2 times. Find his other time.
So Pedraza, was that after Tank?
yeah,
that was
So
but he beat
Lomachenko-
Beltran for his belt.
So Lomachenko beat Pedraza after Tank beat him.
Yes.
So the best fighter on Lomachenko's, the best fighter on Lomachenko's is a fighter that Tank knocked out.
At 35, though. But Lomachenko, see, you can't single
no,
Lomachenko.
at 30. At 30.
No, what I'm saying, that the biggest win for Lomachenko is
At 35, yeah.
Yeah, 35.
think-
But he lost at 30.
But I don't think
Tank.
it's fair. Yes. But I don't think it's fair for you to say the biggest, because Loma's resume is more about the entirety and
So-
the time that he put it
And
together.
Pedraza, who did Pedraza beat at 35 to be something?
He beat Beltran, I believe, for the world title, right?
It wasn't a world title.
It was WBO, man.
I thought Richard Comey beat Beltran
No.
for the title.
Who did Pedraza beat for the belt to become 2-time?
No, you said, but I'm saying is, who did he beat at 135 for Loma to have his best win at 135 meant that Pedraza then did something at 135, right?
I mean,
No, but just tell me that. Who did he beat?
I mean, his best
Who
win
did
at
Pedraza?
his best win at 35 is probably Ray Beltran. I mean, he went to decision with Moran, who you guys annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say his best win at 35, Pedraza, that is probably Ray Beltran. And that was the fight before the Lomachenko fight.
it was for the WBO, too. Why y'all making me look like I'm wrong? He won his second belt versus Beltran for the WBO.
I told you that.
That was after Beltran had about 5 losses.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
but
so that's
but,
what I'm saying.
but then
So you can't justify all this shit that he did at 135, or you can't justify, why we look at him the way we look at him.
But then
right?
there's
we look at Lomachenko the way we look at him because he ain't fought no fucking body for us to look at him like that.
But
and
Nakatani,
and so just like I said before, if Lomachenko can get it now, we can fight Lomachenko. We could have fought him then like we can fight him now. But we look at it because of what we're saying. Because the fighters that he didn't fought, the fighters that we didn't fought, the things that we think that he didn't did, right? We don't look at Richard Comey the same way that you guys looked at him. We wanted Richard Comey before he did. So when he got Richard Comey, that's nothing. That's nothing. Nobody that he's default, that he's beat, right? That we look at it and say that we couldn't beat or was going to give us a hard time. So I only get kind of a little bit when we come back to, first I'm talking about George Kambosos, right? And we talking about making the undisputed. So then we start talking about Lomachenko, right? Well, if George Kambosos ain't it, and it's Lomachenko, then it's Lomachenko. But we're not going backwards. We're staying at the pay window. We want to fight the best fighters for the biggest purse on the biggest stage in the world, period.
So if it's not Lomachenko,
No, it would have to be Loma.
it would
then.
have to be.
I mean, because then commercially, the only other bigger fight would be Tank. Well, I think Tank would be the bigger fight in general, but it would be Ryan. Then the only other fight that's like commercially bigger.
Yeah, but
than that.
we're talking next fight. Both those fighters you just mentioned already have fights
yeah.
lined up.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm saying if you take Loma, you leave George with nothing. If you don't want to fight for undisputed.
I mean, Isaac is like if you if you can't get Loma, I guess Isaac is in a bad option. And it's a common opponent with Tank.
Bill, so what would you say? Because obviously you were just questioning Loma and how, he beat Pedraza after Pedraza lost to Tank. What would you say to the people that say, well, Devin beat Linares after Loma beat him?
No, we took Linares after nobody else would fight us. We took Jojo Diaz after we couldn't make nothing else happen, right? So right now, and I'm saying is that we're vocally to everyone and saying is that we don't have an opponent. We're trying to negotiate with George Kambosos. He says, what's the other option, right? There isn't any option, but we will fight anybody. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's not no option because I don't want to say, okay, well now, but we're already negotiating with this other person, so we're not wholeheartedly in good faith trying to do everything we can with George Kambosos.
That makes sense. I wanted to ask you because two of Devin's past opponents will be in the ring here later this month, and Zaire Abdulayev and Jorge Linares. Just wanted your thoughts on that fight really quick. Obviously, Devin won the interim title against Abdulayev in New York, which obviously then he was elevated to world champion once Lomachenko and his team petitioned for a franchise. Just wanted your thoughts on that fight. Obviously Devin beat them both.
Oh no, it's a funny thing about boxing, and I know you both know that once once you fight someone, you automatically kind of become a fan of theirs. You kind of want them to do good. You want them to do good, right? Because it
elevates your win.
It elevates you. So
absolutely.
at least I am. I know that I'm pulling for Jorge Linares and Zaire Abdulayev to have great showings, great outings. But they're both good fighters. You know what I mean? And I expect them to to put on a hell of performances. Zaire Abdulayev, he came to fight. No one knew who he was. We knew he was undefeated. He had beat Hank Lundy. So vicious out there in Russia that we knew that he had that dog in him that Devin was going to have to, keep him under control. So shout out to him and good luck to him and his team. Igis Klimas represents Zaire.
I was going to say he must have some money because other than Haney, he gets everybody to come to Russia.
Right, that's that good team of Igis Klimas. And
he's just coming off his Latikanen win too.
Yeah, the federation, they do a great job with their fighters. It was a privilege for us to be able to get a Russian opponent in Zaire Abdulayev for the interim.
Can you imagine? Do you expect to have him as a mandatory? He's the WBC silver.
Well, you know what happened is he raised his hand, and Teofimo and Javier Fortuna was in the tournament. It was a tournament that was ordered from the WBC, and it was Teofimo, Zaire Abdulayev, Devin Haney, and Javier Fortuna. Teofimo Lopez famously got out of the tournament and said that he found a quicker way to his goals and his aspirations. Javier Fortuna, he was backed in like a cat, according to the promoter, Javier Fortuna's promoter. He got Sampson, who said he got backed into a corner with it. But Zaire Abdulayev, shout out to him and the federation and Igis Klimas, they raised their hand. And one thing that I know about when Igis got a chance to look at Devin firsthand up close with Zaire Abdulayev, he kind of could see, the problems that we would bring to Lomachenko.
Yeah,
or
but
concerns.
he's worked his way back to basically your mandatory.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like I said, those kind of guys, you cheer for him. You cheer for him. And I said, shout out to everything that he's done. I think he had suffered an injury, a orbital bone or something like that was fractured. And
in the Devin fight
in the Devin fight in New York. So, shout out to his team and, the amazing job that they're doing making a comeback up the ranks.
So whatever happened to the interim champ? Did they just dissolve it? Because I know that Ryan was an interim titleist, right, at one point, and then, I don't know whatever happened.
That's how it is when you become anything close to Dev. We get them up off of us. They don't get elevated. They don't get none of that. You get demoted or you get beat the fuck up. Period.
Okay.
All that other shit. When we were in interim and you gonna get elevated and all that. No, you gotta with the WBC, you got to put your name in the hat, and you got to be willing to rock.
Yeah,
or at least that's our experience.
No, not at all. I'm just seeing that obviously Emmanuel isn't highly ranked on the WBC. He's at number 10, Tagago. Abdullayev is number 4. So there's a possibility that Linares number 6 and Haney's other victim, Abdullayev number 4, who's already the silver champ, with that win over each other, whoever wins could possibly be mandated as the mandatory since there's no interim champion.
But you see what guys look like. They say we ain't fought nobody even after we beat them. You see Zaro Abdullayev still hanging around. You see Jorge Linares, and also you see Jojo Diaz.
Absolutely.
So that's a testament to the work that we're putting in, and it's also a testament to the guys that raise their hand. And like I say, this is boxing. It's not for the faint at heart, right? It's for the bosses or the soldiers that have aspiration to become bosses.
I'm being told JoJo was also the interim.
Yeah, JoJo was the interim as well.
Oh, okay. So obviously, when you lose to the champion, you're no longer the interim. So no one's the interim at this point. Which could, again, is the interim higher? You would know better than us. Is the interim belt higher than the silver?
Yeah, the interim belt is higher than the silver because at any given time, if the interim champion petitions to fight the world champion and you don't fight him, they can get elevated because there's no one else for them to fight.
So in theory, the winner of Linares Abdullayev can be placed in interim status if you actually fall into negotiations with Kambosos.
Man, put him in line, and Dev gonna knock him down. Put him in line, he gonna knock him down. We don't complain about nobody in a position or nobody raising their hand to fight. We know that that's a respect thing, right? We know that we've been disrespected by other fighters who've been in the opportunity and in the position that they didn't even recognize Devin raising his hand, right? So when they raise their hand, when they raise their hand with us, we take it as respect.
I like that. Shout out to Mr. Stelia Chen. He changes his name. He was best dad ever, Mr. Stelia Chen. Now he's in the chat as Javonta One-Time Davis. But he said fight Montana Love. That's not a title shot.
Oh yeah, Montana Love brings a lot of excitement to the table.
And he's got a date, though.
Yeah, shout out to Montana Love and everything that he's doing. Listen, when our name is put side by side with these guys and potential fights, we don't take it as slight. We don't take it bad. We know that it takes two to tango, and it takes two fighters that want to fight to make exciting fights for the people.
It doesn't say that he has anything on BoxRec, but I just watched this post yesterday where he was saying he was actually hand-to-handing tickets. So I don't know if he has something else.
Shout out to Montana Love and all the everyone that represents the whole Love brand. They're doing a hell of a job. I saw him in there, and he had the dog. That was the first time I got a chance to see. He had the dog. He had what kind of dog was that?
French bulldog.
Yeah, the French bulldog working overtime. You did.
Yeah, man. He had him in the ring for your fight. He was on the undercard, and the dog was in the ring. He was doing the media workout with him.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know, man. I want Lomachenko at this point because he's
the best option available, and I mean, if he's good enough for Kambosos, then he might as well be good enough for Haney, right? Because that's who Kambosos is negotiating with as well.
And then obviously, if you're Devin Haney, if you're Team Haney, that's your opportunity to prove why he chose or why his team chose to petition for franchise status. And
and it's just the biggest other fight. I mean, outside of Tank, Vasil is very recognized.
I just feel like Eddie and Bob doing business is a lot more likely than Eddie and PBC.
Well, they've done it before, like he said, with Corolla, with Campbell,
with everybody,
and
with
Ramirez.
a number of people. Yeah, a number of people, man.
Yeah. The thing is, are they gonna want to do it with that good little fighter, Devin Haney?
That good little fighter, isn't he? Good little fighter, man.
shout out Carl Moretti.
Shout out Carl Moretti, man. Man. Well, Bill, man, we don't want to take too much more of your time. I see you brought the kids with you. Look, I tell you guys, man. I tell him all the time, but I don't know if I've ever said it on air. But man, this guy is like the best dad ever. He makes me want to be a better dad. Look, I thought you popped in. Next thing I know, the kids are here too. You never without them. That's amazing.
Shout out to little Sean Haney doing his thing on the tennis court.
Yep. We just had a tennis tournament. We come up short, but it was his first tournament, and he was in there, and I mean he was fighting. He was fighting. I think it was 6-4, right? But he had opportunities that he could have taken it down in the sudden death. But we got some things that we saw that we can work on, and it was his first tournament, and I'm so happy and proud of him.
Yeah, man, I'm proud of you being here and always popping up. You make me so happy, man. I thank you for always coming through and giving us, the real, man, because there's a lot of quotes out there and a lot of sources, but we always get that Devin Haney information from you, and we appreciate it, man.
You want to go
for the video? Feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.